Welcome to IT Learning, the place where everyone can learn the basics of the IT world. Today we're talking about something called SQL injection. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. We'll learn what SQL injection is and how it works. We'll see how it can be a problem for websites. Most importantly, we'll learn how to stay safe. Ready to start? Let's go. Let's imagine a website. This website could be anything: a social media platform, an online store, or even a blog. This website has a form where you can log in. You see the familiar fields asking for your username and password. You enter your username and password, right? You trust that your information is safe and secure. That information goes to the website's database. This database is a crucial part of the website's infrastructure. The database is like a big library. Just like a library stores books, the database stores data. It stores all the website's information. This includes user data, transaction records, and much more. To find your information, the website uses a special language called SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL injection is like a trick. It's a way for someone to manipulate the SQL queries. Someone can use it to speak directly to the database. They can insert malicious code into the SQL query. They can bypass the website's security. That's not good. This can lead to unauthorized access to sensitive data, data corruption, or even data deletion. To prevent SQL injection, developers need to use secure coding practices. This includes using prepared statements and parameterized queries. Regular security audits and code reviews can also help identify and fix vulnerabilities. By taking these precautions, websites can protect their databases and keep user information safe. So next time you log into a website, remember the importance of database security. It's what keeps your information safe from threats like SQL injection. Imagine the login form again. You see a simple interface asking for your credentials. It asks for your username. This is a common sight on many websites, from social media to online banking. Normally you'd type your name like Billy. It's straightforward and secure, right? But what if instead of Billy someone typed something like this? A string of characters that looks unusual. This looks strange, right? It doesn't seem like a name at all. This is a bit of SQL code. SQL, or Structured Query Language, is used to communicate with databases. Websites use SQL to manage and retrieve data, like checking if your username and password match. When the website tries to check your login, it gets confused. It doesn't expect SQL code in the username field. This confusion can cause the website to behave unpredictably. It sees this code and thinks it's part of your username. The SQL code can manipulate the database query. Instead of just checking your username, it might execute unintended commands. This can trick the website into letting the bad guy in. The hacker gains unauthorized access, potentially compromising sensitive information. This technique is known as SQL injection. It's a common attack method used by cybercriminals. By injecting malicious SQL code, they can bypass security measures and gain control over the database. Protecting against SQL injection involves validating user inputs and using prepared statements. These practices ensure that any input is treated as data, not executable code. Understanding how SQL injection works is crucial for building secure applications. Always be cautious with user inputs and implement robust security measures to safeguard your data. Stay informed and stay secure. Let's say the website uses this SQL code to check your login. If you type into the username field, the code becomes, see the problem? The part is always true. This means the website might let the attacker in even without knowing the password. SQL injection is dangerous. Why? Because it can let attackers do bad things. They can steal usernames, passwords, and other personal information. They can delete important data from the website. They might even take control of the entire website. This is bad news for everyone. It can cost companies a lot of money and damage their reputation. How can we stop SQL injection? This is a critical question for anyone involved in web development or cybersecurity. SQL injection is a type of attack where malicious code is inserted into a query to manipulate the database. It can lead to unauthorized access, data breaches, and even complete control over the database. Understanding how to prevent this is essential for maintaining the integrity and security of any website. Good news, there are ways to protect websites. Implementing these measures can significantly reduce the risk of SQL injection attacks. One of the most effective methods is to use prepared statements and parameterized queries. These techniques ensure that user input is treated as data, not executable code, making it much harder for attackers to inject malicious SQL. Websites can check what users type in forms. Input validation is another crucial step. By validating and sanitizing user inputs, websites can ensure that the data entered conforms to expected formats. This means checking for special characters, enforcing length restrictions, and using whitelists to allow only acceptable inputs. This process helps to filter out potentially harmful data before it reaches the database. They can make sure it looks like real names and passwords, not SQL code. This involves using regular expressions and other validation techniques to detect and block suspicious input patterns. Additionally, employing web application firewalls, WAFs, can provide an extra layer of defense by monitoring and filtering out malicious traffic. This is a special way to talk to the database. Using object relational mapping, ORM frameworks can also help. ORMs abstract the database interactions, making it more difficult for attackers to craft effective SQL injection attacks. They provide a higher-level interface for database operations, reducing the likelihood of direct SQL manipulation. It makes it harder for attackers to sneak in bad code. Another important measure is to limit database permissions. By granting the least privilege necessary for each user and application, you can minimize the potential damage if an attack does occur. This means configuring the database to restrict access to sensitive data and operations. Website software needs regular updates. Keeping your software up to date is crucial. Developers frequently release updates that address newly discovered vulnerabilities. By staying current with these updates, you can protect your website from known threats. Updates often include security patches to fix vulnerabilities. These patches are designed to close security gaps that could be exploited by attackers. Regularly applying updates ensures that your website remains resilient against evolving threats. By taking these steps, websites can be much safer from SQL injection attacks. In summary, protecting against SQL injection requires a multifaceted approach. By using prepared statements, validating inputs, employing ORMs, limiting permissions, and keeping software updated, you can create a robust defense against this common and dangerous attack. Ensuring the security of your website not only protects your data, but also builds trust with your users. So there you have it. Now you know the basics of SQL injection. Remember, it's like a trick to talk to a website's database. It can be dangerous, but there are ways to stay safe. By understanding the risks and following good security practices, we can all help make the internet a safer place. We hope you learned something new and interesting about SQL injection. To continue learning new IT knowledge, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment about which topic you'd like a video on.